A reminder, the news doesn't end here. Here's what's coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
The Queen City quarter sits right here in the heart of Uptown. It used to be called the Epicentre, but it's not anymore. It's up for sale again. So what'll come of this property? We'll have that coming up.
The Fort Mill School Board now asking the governor to permanently limit operations at Silvat Solar. How the plant is responding after a spill and a leak last week.
More than a week after the primary, the outcome of a state Senate race here in North Carolina could hinge on just a few votes. Why all eyes turn to next week, and the new clues hinting a recount is on the way.
And we're live at the Spectrum Center as day 3 of the ACC tournament tips off.
Why today's matchups could deliver the biggest surprises yet. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
Definitely slow down and dry for conditions as that rain moves into our area. Right now we see it covering I-40 between Asheville and Hickory at this time. Also seeing a new accident in Davidson, East Rocky River Road, west of Shear Road.
Severe storms have already developed well to the south of us. We'll be following this for you over on WCNC Plus to see if any of those storms lift north into our area. They may become a bit strong, but mainly our biggest concern will be strong winds and widespread rain.
All right, join us over on WCNC Plus starting at 7.
Streaming live at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Thanks for joining us. We start things off with a check of that WCNC weather impact forecast, because if you haven't seen it already, rain is on the way this morning.
Our mountain county is already tapping into that rain, and now really areas right along I-40 and north of it. It is already a wet start to your Thursday morning. The big weather story today is we have a strong cold front pushing through. We're forecasting widespread rain, heavy at times, and we'll be monitoring to see if any isolated storms can develop as well. Here's our satellite and radars. We're kicking off the 7 o'clock hour. Still here in Charlotte, it's warm, it's windy. I'm calling this the calm before the storm, but look to the north of us, up in our high country. This is where we already have rain falling. Ashe, Watauga, Avery counties now right along I-40 from areas out towards Hickory, trying to sneak into Morganton. So it is going to be a wet start for your morning commute for some of you. Hasn't quite reached Statesville or Lake Norman quite yet. Next up, what I'm going to be watching for over the next 2 hours right here on WCNC Plus is whether or not this little line right here, the northern edge, it's just really out towards areas northeast of Atlanta. If it can lift, if it lifts farther enough north and it has enough energy, then we could see some of those storms form. So here it is as it passes through Athens, heading towards Greenville. Will it continue to track more to the north and to the east? Because if it does, then with it, we could have some storms, heavy downpours as well. One of the biggest things this morning is how this line has caused severe weather overnight into the early morning hours from Alabama stretching into Georgia. The National Weather Service has issued a handful of tornado warnings this morning. Those pink polygons right there, those are active tornado warnings, meaning that within this line of strong to severe thunderstorms, some of those storms may have the ability to actually drop a tornado this morning. Strong straight line winds also a huge concern when you see a line like this. And while we're not expecting to get severe weather like what our friends to the south are seeing, could we have a couple of those storms try to sneak into our area as it kind of lifts up to the north and to the east? It is possible, but I do like that the overall arrival of this cold front moves in a little bit later. It's 7:02 right now. I would suspect that by 9-10 o'clock, things are really going to start to get going. However, temperatures right now, they're warm. They're going to continue to drop as we start to see those impacts moving in from the mountains. It's interesting because even beyond our mountains, we have a little bit of snowfall that's falling there in Virginia. Temperatures in our mountain counties will continue to fall into the 30s as well. So could we see that transition from rain this morning into some light snowfall for the mountains? I think it's absolutely possible. This is the big front that has been impacting the country over the last several days. It has brought really devastating tornadoes, huge hailstones. And now as it tracks eastward, this is our big weather story this morning. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll continue to talk about what's going on with our satellite and radar. We'll continue to give you those updates all morning long here on the stream. Of course, we'll let you know if any storms do form, and definitely we'll be prepared to let you know if any of them do turn strong to severe. If they do, the biggest concern will be those strong winds associated with it. But coming up in just a few minutes, I'm going to walk you through our futurecast because this is our live satellite and radar now, but our futurecast kind of helps to paint a better picture as to what you can expect as we're heading through our Thursday morning. For now, let's send things to Destiny. You've been watching those roads. How's it going so far? Are you seeing rain on any of the cameras or any travel impacts?
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing it up to the northwest. So again, in the mountains near Hickory, these types of areas, but not really in the Charlotte area yet. We're still seeing dry pavement as of right now. This is I-85 near I-77 this morning, seeing some congestion starting to build on our interstates. There was one accident on I-85 at I-77. It has since cleared. There was slow ramp traffic for a while, but now it's looking good. But as we're zoomed out, we're really just seeing a bit of yellow in some spots and mostly green on the map. Again, the rain is mostly being seen out near Morganton, Marion, approaching Hickory, maybe a little bit in Hickory right now. So just be aware if you're traveling on I-40 this morning, west of I-77, that's where that first bit of rain is seen. So we're also following a new accident here in Davidson this morning, East Rocky River Road, west of Shear Road. No details right now on what occurred here, but we are reaching out to Medic to find out. We have more going on in the Charlotte area. We'll have another update on traffic coming up in a few minutes.
Destiny, thank you. Now to a breaking news update. CMPD has made an arrest in an East Charlotte homicide. Court records show Lise Brito Costa was arrested Wednesday. Costa is charged with first-degree murder and has a court appearance scheduled for this afternoon. Police say Tuesday afternoon, officers were called to check on someone near Central Avenue and Norland Road. When they arrived at that scene, they found a woman with serious injuries who died a short time later. That victim has not been identified.
This morning, extra law enforcement officers are at New Heights Middle School in Chesterfield County after a student made threatening statements Wednesday. School officials say the student was immediately removed from class, law enforcement was notified, and safety protocols were followed. The extra officers are just a precaution. Right now, there's no active threats for students or staff.
This morning, folks are wondering what's next for the Uptown property formerly known as the Epicentre after learning it's going on the market again. Now, this is video from 2022 when it was rebranded as the Queen City Quarter.
It fell into foreclosure that year after the owner defaulted on an $85 million loan. New owners bought the site that year, promising a fresh look and new name. However, the property's website shows just 14 of its 50 tenant spaces are currently leased.
In a statement to WCNC Charlotte City Council member Dimple Ejmera says, "We look forward to seeing it continue to be a place where residents and visitors come to gather, dine, and enjoy the heart of our city."
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live in Uptown. And Richard, Epicentre was at one point, say 10 years ago, the place to be. And ever since then, with the pandemic and a variety of other reasons, it struggled to sort of regain that former glory.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Ben. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lisa. Good Thursday morning, everyone. We were just talking, me and Mason, photojournalist Mason, we're just talking about some of the events held here. We've seen NBA All-Star parties here when the All-Star games were here. We saw every year thousands of folks flood this place for CIAA. We also, when we had the DNC in 2012, there was a couple of major networks that had setups in this spot. And on weekends, just regular weekends, this was the epicenter of Uptown. And as you said, it's not anymore. And the people who tried to rebrand it, well, they're moving on. As we take a look at video, we can tell you that this used to be a hot spot, a destination once for in the heart here in Charlotte's nightlife, day life also, packed the episode. There were restaurants, bars, crowds spilling into the streets. Over the years, though, violent crime and the COVID-19 pandemic have chipped away at the area's popularity, leaving what was once a very vibrant gathering spot largely quiet and empty. The property fell into foreclosure in 2022, as you said, and after its previous owner defaulted on that $85 million loan, there was a new ownership group that branded the space as Queen City Quarter. Although they didn't change many of the signs around, they were hoping to revive the struggling landmark known as the Epicentre. But today, this place looks very different. Nearly 70% of the storefronts inside the buildings are empty. The current owner says it's time to move on, but some, including Queen City Center City partners, say there is still hope for this building and its future. Take a listen.
It's right next door to the Spectrum Center. It's right along the Blue Line. It's right along the rail trail, surrounded by very large Fortune 500 headquarters. And so those aspects should be able to provide ideas, provide vibrancy, provide connectivity. I think one of the key parts is that that block and that asset become better connected to all the other assets and uses that are around it.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. And he also says that basically with the transit center moving its location underground and other things happening around Uptown, it's a very attractive part of real estate. And he hopes that someone will see that. And of course, the sale goes into effect, goes on the market in the next 30 days. We're right here in Uptown. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, because in a week like this, the ACC tournament, a place like that should just be booming with people. At least it used to be. Here's hoping they find the right mix of tenants that make it work this time. Richard, thank you. More changes coming to the site of the former Sycamore Brewing in South End. The Charlotte Business Journal says the current owner will not be leading the business when it reopens as Club West Brewing this weekend. The Journal says Brad Bergman, the former director of brewery operations, is buying the business from owner Sarah Taylor. You may remember the once popular brewery closed back in January after now former co-owner Justin Brigham was arrested in Stanley County on child rape charges. According to the Journal, operations are set to resume this Saturday at 11 a.m.
Charlotte City Council members are weighing big decisions over policy restrictions over data centers. A proposed facility in East Charlotte started that debate after folks in the area said they were concerned about water and energy usage. The developer wants to rezone the plot of land right next to a neighborhood. Councilmember Dimple Ejmera says she's worried about straining the power grid.
We need to be proactive as a city rather than being reactive, because once they're approved, there is very little power that we will have.
Well, as of right now, there's no date set for that rezoning petition to go before council. That leaves time for policy changes to be finalized.
Now to Cornelius, where authorities are investigating a kayaker that drowned on Lake Norman. Police say they received a call around 3 Wednesday afternoon about a suspicious boat. They later discovered the body of a 40-year-old man. Right now, details surrounding his death are limited. We have reached out to the North Carolina Wildlife Patrol for more information, and we will update you as soon as we hear more.
We are learning more about a missing Gastonia teen found safe hundreds of miles away in Florida during a traffic stop. This is some video from that traffic stop. Deputies say that teen was with 37-year-old Joshua McGrath, who initially gave conflicting information about their relationship. After investigators confirmed the teen's identity, they learned she'd been reported missing on February 16th. Experts say cases like this one are not uncommon, and it's a reminder for families to talk with kids about healthy relationships.
Most of the time when an adult is trying to groom a child or to gain access to them, like, they try their best to make them feel comfortable in whatever way that looked like. So I would be very curious about what tactics he used to engage her.
McGrath is now facing several charges, including contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Federal authorities are involved. Local police say they continue to investigate. Confidence in the Supreme Court is at an all-time low. We're going to break down why voters are losing trust and what it means for both parties next. The time is now 7:14. 4 sources tell NBC News outdated intelligence likely led to that deadly strike on an Iranian elementary school. Democrats on Capitol Hill are pressing for more answers.
Well, we're also tracking an intensifying battle over oil as President Trump looks to ease concerns over soaring energy costs. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest.
This morning, an intensifying war within the war over that critical oil route, the Strait of Hormuz. Iran launching new attacks on ships, keeping tanker traffic at a standstill in a bid to drive oil prices even higher. With gas prices here at home up 20% since the start of the war, the U.S. joining dozens of countries agreeing to release 400 million barrels of oil to try to drive prices down.
We're going to be doing it very quickly, and then we'll fill it up. We'll fill up our reserves.
Pentagon officials telling senators in a closed-door briefing the first 6 days of the war with Iran are estimated to have cost more than $11.3 billion. That according to 3 sources familiar with the briefing. President Trump sending mixed messages about the war's status.
Let me say, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won.
Minutes later.
We don't want to leave early, do we? We got to finish the job.
And now new information from a U.S. military investigation into the missile strike on an Iranian elementary school at the start of the war that killed 170 people, mostly children, according to Iranian officials. NBC News has learned preliminary results find the U.S. was likely responsible due to outdated intelligence believed to have mislabeled the school as a military target, according to a U.S. official and 3 sources familiar with the initial findings. Senate Democrats demanding answers from the Defense Department.
It's important that the DOD figures out how did this happen and then put things in place to make sure it does not happen again.
President Trump has said he would live with the investigation's findings. You may have heard reports about an FBI bulletin sent to police departments in California, warning Iran could launch drones from ships off the coast. A federal law enforcement source tells NBC News that was sent only for awareness and that there is no credible evidence or intelligence about an imminent attack. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
President Trump pushing for another quick decision on immigration statuses in the U.S. On Wednesday, the president asked the Supreme Court to let his administration end temporary immigration protection for Haitians. This could affect about 350,000 people who've lived in the U.S. legally for years. A federal court blocked the White House from ending the TPS program for Haitian nationals in February. The administration appealing to confirm its legal authority to end protections for several groups. Confidence in the high court has hit the lowest point since NBC News began polling more than 25 years ago. Only 22% of registered voters now say they have a great deal or quite a bit of confidence in the high court. Confidence has dropped across both parties, though Republicans still show higher trust than Democrats. Could be that the court is much more conservative than it used to be. Experts say controversial rulings like those on abortion and Trump's criminal immunity are eroding respect for the court.
States across the country are moving to set rules for cash purchases now that the U.S. Mint has stopped making pennies. Without the 1-cent coins, many lawmakers want to let or require businesses to round cash totals to the nearest 5 cents. Some plans call for symmetrical rounding, where amounts ending in 1, 2, 6, or 7 cents round down, and those ending in 3, 4, 8, or 9 cents round up. The shift aims to ease cash transactions and reduce the need for exact change. Some, though, worried it could lead to small amounts of added costs for consumers over time.
Yeah, for us, and also I would think for small businesses, this could be complicated really quickly and could mean a lot if your margins are small already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What they say, pennies add up.
They do. All right. Let's go to live pictures right now. This is US 64 West Statesville. Destiny Richards standing by with a look at your traffic impacts right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to give you an update. The National Weather Service just posted this. We now have a tornado watch in place until 1 o'clock this afternoon. This will be for South Carolina County. So we're talking to York County, Chester, Lancaster, Chesterfield. We'll be watching to see if any of those storms that I've been talking about all morning long, if they can lift enough northeast. And if they do, the ingredients could be in place for a couple of those storms to turn strong to possibly severe. So that's something new that we'll be really following for you up until early this afternoon. The greatest risk for severe storms, bottom line, does remain to the south of us. You can see how active it is as it's crossing over Alabama, straight into Georgia. And now really our greatest impacts will be the widespread rain and the isolated thunderstorms that we could see this morning. Once we zoom it in, you can see it's this line right here that has been causing some big problems. The National Weather Service already issuing many tornado warnings this morning, especially now as it moves through Georgia. Let's bring it a little closer to home. We have rain showers right along I-40 and north of it. This is just rain. This is no big deal. This is also where temperatures are starting to drop a little bit up towards the high country. Once we're looking toward Charlotte, it's still warm outside as those southwesterly winds continue to usher in the warmer air, and temperatures are still into the low 70s. They'll continue to drop though throughout the day, and we want those temperatures to drop because storms, they need heat, they need humidity to form, and likely as they do get closer to us, those storms, the temperatures will continue to drop. Storm Prediction Center though does have this area highlighted as a low-end risk for severe storms. Futurecast looks like this. Here's 8 o'clock this morning, active weather mainly west of I-77. Once we hit 10 o'clock this morning though, I like to see the cooler temperatures at this point, but this is when it's going to get messy. So if you want to avoid being out on those area roadways, really get going soon. That system tracks off to the east by noon. Back behind it, the rest of the day will be quiet, but then cooler air really filters in. By tomorrow morning, we'll be waking up to temperatures into the mid-30s. Hourly forecast looks like this: widespread and heavy rain. If any of those storms do turn strong to severe, I really think our biggest concern will be cloud to ground lightning and strong damaging winds. We'll talk more about that coming up soon, but let's get a check on traffic. Destiny.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that rain approaching our area, but still not quite in the Charlotte metro. This is US 70 at US 64 or Hickory Highway. This is in West Statesville, and this is where we're seeing damp roads right now. It's really to the northwest of our area. So just be aware of that. If you're on I-40 or any of the surrounding state or US highways, that's where you're going to be seeing those damp roads and that rain starting to come down. And of course, take it easy, drive slowly for conditions. In terms of accidents in the Charlotte area right now, we do see a new accident up northeast McCullough Drive northbound north of IKEA Boulevard. So just be aware of that. No traffic impacts from that, but we are seeing a couple of accidents where those backups are forming. Albemarle Road inbound approaching Central Avenue is one of them, where Independence turns into Albemarle, and then Steel Creek, South Tryon at Westinghouse Boulevard.
Destiny, thanks. Today in Women's History, we celebrate National Girl Scout Day. Juliette Gordon-Lowe organized the group's first meeting on March 12, 1912 in Savannah, Georgia. The founder also immersed troops in enrichment programs, service projects, and outdoor activities and adventures. Since then, Girl Scouts of America has grown from just 18 scouts to more than 3 million members. Girl Scouts, so much more than just cookies. All right, 7:25 now. Time for us to take a quick break, but make sure that you keep it right here, streaming live on WCNC Plus. Coming up at 7:30, our Miles Harris is going to be live at Uptown to give us the latest on the ACC men's basketball tournament. This is day 3. Stay with us.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist. Majestic storm tracking a strong cold front pushing across the Carolinas this morning, bringing with it severe weather well to the south of us. But we are going to be watching for not just widespread rain today, but even heavy rain at times. A couple of isolated storms may pick up some intensity, and we'll be watching for mainly strong winds with that. Once we're looking at I-40 and north of that, you're already waking up to some wet conditions. National Weather Service just issued this tornado watch until 1 o'clock this afternoon as we're looking towards our South Carolina counties. So if any of those storms do turn strong to severe, we'll let you know first thing right here on WCNC. Make sure you follow us up until about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Then that storm system is out of here and temperatures drop significantly throughout the day, with temperatures right around 2, 3 o'clock only into the 40s. Destiny, how are the roads?
Yeah, right now in the Charlotte metro area, things are dry, but as you said, the rain is moving in. Right now, we're seeing it on I-40 and north of that. Now, moving into our area here, we do have some accidents you'll want to know about on McCullough Drive, northbound of IKEA Boulevard, and then we also have an accident on Albemarle Road approaching Central Avenue.
Thanks for streaming live at 7:30 on WCNC Plus. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. The ACC tournament heating up in Uptown with the top 4 teams set to hit the court today.
One of the top storylines so far, NC State men's basketball team picking up that impressive win yesterday over Pitt to keep their tournament run alive.
WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joins us now live from the Spectrum Center with a look at the latest from the tournament and today's action. Miles.
Yeah, Ben and Lisa, it is day 3 of the ACC tournament where really the competition's only going to get tougher from here. And so far, there have been some teams that have extended their March hopes, where others, you've seen those hopes come to an end. Now, we do have to talk about that impressive win that we saw yesterday from NC State. They looked pretty good yesterday. Again, getting off to a bit of a slow start, but really turning things around and ended up coming off the court with a 10-point win over Pitt, surviving and advancing into the quarterfinals in front of a pretty strong crowd that even included DJ Burns, the legend that we remember from that March Madness a couple of years ago. Now, this win comes at a perfect time for the Wolfpack, snapping a 4-game losing streak and keeping the tournament hopes alive. Now, Coach Weed, after the game, he tells us how important it was for his squad to shake off that cold streak that they had at the end of the regular season.
Probably be no next week if we lost today, so this was important, or we'd have been in real trouble for next week. So this was important, and we need to try to play better against Virginia. I mean, we've gotten our doors blown off twice by Virginia, so we need to try to play better and see if we can make a game of it tomorrow.
Now, NC State does have a pretty tough task on their hands today. They're going to take on Virginia with that tip-off set for noon today inside the Spectrum Center, but it wasn't all good news for the Carolina teams. Wake Forest, they fell short to Clemson last night, but we do have two ACC powerhouses that the Carolinas are familiar with. They have Duke taking on Florida State with that game set for 7 o'clock tonight. And then we will have North Carolina taking on Clemson with that game following it. Set the tip off at 9:30. So hopefully a lot of fans, Carolina fans, make their way out here. And hopefully both of those games come with wins as well. Guys, reporting live here outside of the Spectrum Center in Uptown, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, Miles, thank you.
Well, new this morning, a Charlotte teen is behind bars accused of killing a 15-year-old in South Carolina. 18-year-old Ryan Ingersoll is facing several charges, including murder and armed robbery in connection to the shooting death of Leo Epting. Investigators say it happened early Saturday in Gray Court, South Carolina. That's southeast of Greenville. A second juvenile suspect has been detained in North Carolina and is awaiting extradition to South Carolina. Later today, we could learn the outcome of a tight state Senate race involving one of the most politically powerful men in all of North Carolina. And the recount is looking more likely. More than a week after the primary, there is still no decision on the race between longtime Senate President Phil Berger and challenger Sam Page, who currently leads by just 23 votes.
According to election officials, military ballots are due 5 p.m. today. Now, some could still arrive between now and then, the deadline, but it's unlikely there's going to be enough to actually change the outcome of the race. So now all eyes turn to March 17th. That's the deadline for Senator Berger to request a recount since the vote is so close.
And there are new clues hinting that he may be leaning that way. IRS paperwork showing a Phil Berger legal expense fund was started on March 5th, 2 days after the primary. We reached out to Senator Berger's campaign and we are waiting to hear back. Now, last Friday, he released a statement. It reads in part, "If we believe a recount is merited, I will pursue that avenue as allowed by law. I owe it to supporters to ensure clarity of the election results."
This leads to a big question here. Would a recount even change the results?
Now, that is possible, but political science professor Tom Little with UNC Greensboro says recounts rarely shift enough votes to flip a race, leaving Berger to face a big political decision.
Has to decide, do I want to go through all this when the chances of winning are not very good? And that, for a sitting presiding officer who's as powerful as that, may not be a really good look. It may look a little desperate. Of all the things he's done as Senate President Pro Tem, would the last memory be of somebody grasping at straws?
If Berger requests a recount, it's supposed to be done by March 25th so the state can certify the results and the winner can go on to face the Democrat in the November general election. Thousands of North Carolina students and teachers getting a financial lifeline after the state fought to get millions in federal education dollars restored. Attorney General Jeff Jackson announced the Department of Education agreed to restore more than $2 million in federal education funds. In a statement, he called it a good outcome for students, but says the fight's not over yet. He says schools will continue to get the money they were promised. Jackson sued the Department of Ed back in December, claiming the agency cut $50 million that had already been promised to North Carolina. Here in Charlotte, CMS says it needs more money to boost teacher pay. The Board of Education released a partial budget for the upcoming school year. They want an extra $37 million for teacher raises. It's part of an effort to keep teachers in Charlotte classrooms. The board is expected to release its full budget by the end of the month. That's when we'll see how the district plans to cover those costs.
7:35 now. Governor Josh Stein and 18 other governors are urging Congress to take back control over tariffs. He says rising prices are hurting families, making everyday household items more expensive. Stein says that he is pushing Congress to act fast to lower costs and protect North Carolina's economy. All right, let's check back in with Majestic now, because again, we know that cold front bringing lots of rain is headed our way, and we need a really good soaking rain.
We do, but here's the thing. The problem is that our drought has become so bad that the ground is so incredibly hard at this point. So while we are forecasting widespread and even heavy rain, some of that rain that comes down really intensely is going to have a hard time actually absorbing into the ground. So could we see a little bit of ponding out there today? I think absolutely, even on those grassy surfaces. surfaces. Let's get straight to it. This is a big story today. We're watching this long and very impactful cold front. It's tracking eastward. It's going to be moving across the Carolinas today. And while most of us, we're still seeing very calm and quiet conditions, I want to point out a few things. Really, across Alabama and Georgia this morning, they have been getting hit with the worst severe weather as that line is starting to break apart. But the National Weather Service there has already issued multiple tornado warnings. Still, many already in effect. You can see those pink polygons there. So really what we're watching next is we know there's going to be rain. We know temperatures will drop throughout the day. Now we're wondering, can any of these storms continue to lift a little bit north into the east? Now they do so. Can they hold their strength? Now, we're not majorly concerned about severe weather for us. Now, could we have some storms that are kind of a little fierce at times? I think we could, and we'll be watching for mainly strong gusty winds with them, even cloud to ground lightning. Now, here's our satellite and radar. Still, no active weather here in Mecklenburg County. Really, it's off to the north and to the west of us that you already have some rain coming down, even pockets of heavy rain right along I-40. So travel impacts, they are starting. Storm Prediction Center has parts of our viewing area, mainly southeastern half of our viewing area, under a low end risk for severe storms. That's what we've been telling you today and even yesterday, that overall our risk for severe weather, it's low, but it's not zero. This is something new though. Now the National Weather Service has extended this tornado watch until 1 o'clock today, specifically for our South Carolina counties. What this means is that the ingredients are coming together, and if they all come together at the same time, remember storms, they like warmth, they like humidity. We could see some storms become severe because that's also the same spot where the severe weather threat is low. But could we have the threat of a quick spin up tornado? According to the National Weather Service and what we're looking at when it comes to our models, the risk is there, but overall it's very low. What I would be more concerned about would be those strong gusty winds as this front pushes through. As the front is pushing through, it's dropping those temperatures. So while it's warm outside right now, once we really get hit with the worst of it by 10 o'clock this morning, we're into the 50s. Remember, storms, they don't like the cooler air, and that's what we will start to feel. So we need that. Look at the mountains, 30s and even a little bit of snowfall. That system then continues to push off to the east. I'd say by about noon, 1 o'clock, we should be good to go. Here's a live camera look. Want to take a look at the clouds outside? We can see they're a little ominous looking out towards Charlotte Motor Speedway, especially right here. This is Dallas. We have a big deck of clouds at this point. Even as that rain continues to trickle in, we're going to hold on to cloudy conditions throughout the day, but those winds are already starting to increase. Moving in from the southwest for us in and around Charlotte, as that front is approaching from the northwest, though, that's opening up the door for cooler air up in the mountains. As we're heading into the later half of the day, here's 1 o'clock. Some of those winds gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour up in the mountains. That's pulling in a lot of cold air, and then eventually we will get that even for us. Today's one of those kind of backwards days where it's warm in the morning and then cooler as we're heading into the afternoon. Temperatures dropping into the 40s this afternoon, waking up tomorrow to 20s and 30s. And you can see right here in our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast, we're following a lot of things. Grab the heavy coat tomorrow morning. You probably won't need it by Friday afternoon. Gorgeous both Saturday and Sunday. Rain and storm chances return come Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday. I think the big story there will be those cold overnight lows dropping back down into the 20s and 30s, and even our highs staying below our average. All right, Destiny, how's it going? Are you seeing any accidents? Are you seeing rain on your cameras?
Right now we are seeing rain really extending from Asheville to Statesville along I-40, as well as on the U.S. and state roads in that area. So just be mindful of that. Drive slowly for those conditions this morning. We are starting to see that rain come down. The Charlotte metro area, however, that's where we're seeing most of our accidents this morning. So nothing caused by the rain just yet. This morning we do see a cleared accident here. We've been talking about it a little earlier in Davidson. It is cleared, but we did learn from medic, one patient transported to Novant Presbyterian with potentially serious life-threatening injuries. But again, this crash has cleared officially. Now moving down into the Charlotte metro, we do have a new accident, left lane blocked on Sharon Amity Road, southbound at Central Avenue. Just south of that, Albemarle Road, inbound approaching Central Avenue. A little bit of a crash, or a little bit of a backup there. And then a new accident on Park Road northbound near South Meck High School.
TSA officers feeling the strain during the partial government shutdown. Coming up, why staffing shortages could disrupt your spring break travel. We are following some breaking news right now in North Charlotte. This morning, medic says one person is fighting for their life after a stabbing on Statesville Avenue during the commercial break. Pulling up the map here, it says 3400 block of Statesville Avenue. For folks familiar with the area, that is, it looks just south of I-85, just north of Atondo Avenue and LaSalle. So that gives you some indication of where we're talking about here. Again, a person seriously hurt in a stabbing there. Right now, it's unclear what led up to this situation. Medic, though, evidently taking care of that person even as we speak.
Well, just as spring break ramps up, TSA is warning that a growing number of its officers are quitting as they work without pay during this partial shutdown of the government for the Department of Homeland Security. Already, many airports have reported TSA officers calling out sick over the last few weeks. Here's NBC's Tom Costello.
Those long TSA lines could soon turn spring break travel plans into a travel nightmare, with TSA officers set to miss their second paycheck on Friday. Out of 50,000 TSA officers, the agency says 300 have quit since the start of the shutdown, and 6% are now calling out. But on Sunday, more than half the TSA officers failed to show up for work at Houston Hobby, leading to a 3.5-hour delay with lines snaking through the terminal. For people worried about spring break, should they be expecting 3-hour lines?
It depends on where you're coming from, and we're going to have to adjust operationally depending on what we see. But we want folks to come to the checkpoint early, prepared, and please do be respectful to the TSA officers.
All of it as Democrats say they're open to funding TSA, but are demanding ICE policing reforms. Yet again, frontline TSA workers are struggling to pay the rent, gas, and groceries. Today, Denver Airport asked travelers to donate $10 and $20 gas and grocery cards to TSA officers. Angelita Reed is already behind on her rent.
Some bills might be put on pause until I get my check. Gas has gone up, so that's another expense. It does get old. This is our third shutdown, so it's very frustrating and it's stressful at the same time.
Now with spring break about to kick into high gear, concerned that more officers will call out or simply quit.
A group of food stamp recipients is suing the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Wednesday, 5 people filed a lawsuit over restrictions that banned them from buying sugary drinks, candy, or desserts. The plaintiffs argued the Trump administration violated laws that authorize SNAP benefits and governing changes in policies. The lawsuit also claims the USDA authorized states to limit the legal definition of food without notice or input from the public. Thus far, the Department of Agriculture has approved waivers in 22 states. According to a West Health Gallup Center, many Americans are having trouble with medical expenses. It's according to a poll. More than 82 million people say that they've had to skip at least one daily living expense in order to cover health care bills. People in this poll said that it includes sometimes missing meals or putting off paying a utility bill for a month because of it.
In Oklahoma, insurance company State Farm is facing hundreds of lawsuits filed by customers who say their damage claims have been repeatedly denied. Now the state's attorney general is stepping in, investigating possible racketeering or RICO violations. They are accusing State Farm of a, quote, fraudulent scheme to deny or underpay valid hail damage claims. In legal filings, the company has denied any wrongdoing. 2 lives were lost in a devastating storm in the Midwest, but the danger isn't over. We're going to have the latest on the rescue efforts and the tornado's path of destruction.
Time now at 7:50 here on WCNC Plus. At least 2 people are dead after dangerous storms with tornadoes and giant hail tore through the American heartland.
In addition to causing those deaths, the severe weather left devastation. Here's Reed Binion.
This is devastating. I'm sorry, I'm just lost for words.
A community grief-stricken after 2 people were tragically killed when a tornado ripped through Lake Village, Indiana.
She was good to everyone, all the kids. She was a good person. They were wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. This was their home forever. I mean, they were there forever.
The couple, both in their 80s, killed when the twister struck their home. On top of those 2 fatalities, the tornado trapped some in their homes and left a heartbreaking trail of destruction in its wake. Total devastation, as one official put it, with at least 100 structures damaged as of Wednesday's count, including dozens destroyed, numbers that are expected to rise. Indiana Governor Mike Braun said on social media that first responders, state and local officials, and the American Red Cross were providing immediate support to communities. That tornado wasn't the only one in the area. There was also a monster twister that tore through Kankakee, Illinois, and nearby Aroma Park, Illinois. There were several injuries, but no deaths, according to Kankakee's mayor. The severe weather also included destructive hail, some of it softball size or larger, that crushed cars and caused damage in Illinois.
It was intense. The windows were getting knocked out of the houses. The golf ball size hail, bigger than golf ball, softball size hail.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
We're seeing an active start to the morning now as a strong cold front continues to push more to the east. Today, it's all about the widespread rain, isolated thunderstorms, and temperatures that'll continue to drop throughout the day. We already met our daytime high around midnight tonight, and as that front pushes through, temperatures will continue to fall. This is where most of the severe weather is, and this is really where the greatest risk continues, really across Georgia, where that National Weather Service has issued multiple tornado warnings. Back home, we're starting to tap into more of that widespread rain up towards the high country right along I-40. And yes, it is expected to impact the Charlotte metro area. Now, the Storm Prediction Center does have parts of our viewing area under a low-end risk for severe storms. So really, is severe weather our #1 concern today? It's not. It's truthfully going to be the widespread rain and the heavy rain at times. Now, could we have some isolated thunderstorms? I think we could, but not all of them will be very strong, and definitely not all of them will be severe. If any of those storms do turn severe, I think the biggest concern there, the biggest threat, will be the strong winds associated with that front and within that thunderstorm within itself. But we also just had this issued by the National Weather Service. It's a tornado watch for South Carolina counties until 1 o'clock today. So within our storms, if they turn severe, our biggest concerns will be wind, and then could a spin-up tornado actually develop within our South Carolina counties? It'll be the ability for that to happen is definitely there. Futurecast looks like this as we're heading into the next few hours. Here's about 10 o'clock, so mid-morning. This is where we're seeing the bulk of the system really making its way across the Charlotte metro area. Mecklenburg County, right along I-77, area shaded in red. That's where the rain's going to be coming down really heavily at times. That's also where we could see some of those storms form. Now, by the afternoon, 1 o'clock, we're done with the rain. We're even done with any storms that form, but we're still going to be holding on to quite a bit of cloud coverage. This is a live camera look outside this morning out there toward Charlotte Motor Speedway. Clouds looking a little bit more ominous as we're looking out towards Dallas. A few things to know is that while we did have warm temperatures this morning, they're going to slowly drop as that front approaches, really between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock this morning here in Charlotte. That's when you need to be ready for the heaviest rain and where we could see a few storms. If you want to avoid that and you have to travel somewhere today, you might want to leave a little sooner rather than later. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast looks like this: 35 degrees tomorrow morning, gorgeous start to the weekend, 75 degrees and sunny both Saturday and Sunday. All right, Destiny, over to you.
This morning, we are starting to see those rain impacts. This is once again West US 64 or Hickory Highway in West Statesville. You can see the rain coming down onto the pavement here, not just wet roads. So definitely drive for those conditions as all this moves into our area, just around I-40 right now, between Asheville and Statesville. In terms of accidents this morning, this is one that has recently cleared in Ballantyne, Johnston Road at North Community House Road, but just prepare for those inbound Johnston Road backups approaching I-485 in the area. Also following an accident on northbound Park Road at Arbor Point Drive. This is right near South Meck High School, right in front, I believe. And then one more to tell you about on Albemarle Road inbound approaching Central Avenue.
All right, keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Live pictures right now over uptown. Rain headed our direction and much cooler temperatures as well. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist. Majestic storm tracking a really strong cold front pushing across the Carolinas today. We've seen strong to severe thunderstorms already developing well to the south of us, with multiple tornado warnings in place for areas right in Georgia. Now for us, we will be watching mainly widespread rain, pockets of heavy rain even, and we could have a few isolated thunderstorms. We have a low end risk for any of those storms to turn severe. I think really the biggest concern will be the heavy rain and the gusty winds. However, the National Weather Service did just issue this tornado watch until 1 o'clock this afternoon. That's for our South Carolina counties. Some of this rain is going to be coming down quite intensely, especially by 10 o'clock. Temperatures will continue to drop throughout the day. So warm outside right now here in Charlotte, but by the afternoon, temperatures will only be into the 40s. Destiny.
Yeah, this morning we're already starting to see that rain fall in Statesville. This is US 70 at US 64 or Hickory Highway. That rain is falling. We're not just seeing wet pavement anymore. And that's where we're seeing the rain. It is coming to the Charlotte area, so be prepared for that. Following an accident that is cleared on Johnson Road and North Community House Road. Just some backups from it, but it has cleared. We have more on WCNC Plus.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We have more breaking news just into our newsroom this morning, this time in Matthews, where fire crews are responding to a fire at a shopping plaza on Windsor Crossing Drive. Now, we don't know where exactly within the shopping plaza this fire is, or how it started. We know that crews are asking everyone to, if possible, avoid that area as emergency crews are heading to the Windsor Crossing Drive this morning for a fire there in Matthews. Other news this morning, folks are wondering what's next for the Uptown property formerly known as the Epicentre after learning it's going on the market again. You're taking a look now at some video from 2022 when it was rebranded as the Queen City Quarter.
It fell into foreclosure that year after the owner defaulted on an $85 million loan. New owners bought the site later that year, promising a fresh look and new name. However, the property's website shows just 14 of its current 50 tenant spaces are leased.
In a statement to WCNC Charlotte, Charlotte City Council member Dimple Ajmera says we look forward to seeing it continue to be a place where residents and visitors come to gather, dine, and enjoy the heart of our city.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live for us in Uptown. And Richard, at one point, Epicenter was the place to be, and on a week like this, the ACC tournament, it would be packed with crowds. And it's been a long time since it's been packed with crowds.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Ben. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lisa. Good Thursday morning, everyone. Yeah, the Epicenter, you said the ACC tournament here in town, this place will be packed both day and night, especially starting at lunchtime with those early morning crowds, brunch at times, and then throughout the night you'd see crowds here throughout in the Epicenter. That is no longer the case, and it's been that way for some years. And as a matter of fact, the fact that I keep saying Epicenter, it's no longer the Epicenter, it's the Queen City Quarter, and as that, it has not been what it once was. Now, as we take a look at video, this is why the folks who currently own this place, this destination, which was once the heart of Charlotte's nightlife, packed with restaurants, bars, and of course crowds that spilled into the streets, is planning to part with it. Over the years, violent crime and the COVID-19 pandemic chipped away at the area's popularity, leaving what was once a vibrant gathering spot largely quiet. The property fell into foreclosure in 2022 after its previous owner defaulted on an $85 million loan. New ownership later rebranded the space as the Queen City Quarter, hoping to revive the struggling landmark. But to no avail. Today, the place looks very different. Nearly 70% of the storefronts inside the complex now sit empty. And now the current owners say it's time for them to sell. Well, some say this location still has some potential, including Queen City Partners. Let's take a listen.
It's right next door to the Spectrum Center. It's right along the blue line. It's right along the rail trail, surrounded by very large Fortune 500 headquarters. And so those aspects should be able to provide ideas, provide vibrancy, provide connectivity. I think one of the key parts is that that block and that asset become better connected to all the other assets and uses that are around it.
Yeah, and that is a hopeful selling point for this area. Of course, there's no decision as to what it will become. It's going to be on sale in the next 30 days. Of course, we'll keep you posted on any sellers, potential buyers for this property. We're right here in Uptown. This is Richard Vane. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Richard, keep us posted. More changes coming to the side of the former Sycamore Brewing in South End. The Charlotte Business Journal says the current owner will not be leading the business when it reopens as Club West Brewing. That's this weekend. The Journal said Brad Bergman, the former director of brewery operations, is buying the business from owner Sarah Taylor. You may remember the once popular brewery closed back in January after now former co-owner Justin Brigham was arrested in Stanley County on child rape charges. According to the Journal, operations set to resume this Saturday at 11 a.m.
Charlotte City Council members are weighing big policy restrictions over data centers. A proposed facility in East Charlotte started that debate after folks in the area said they were concerned about water and energy usage. The developer wants to rezone the plot of land right next to a neighborhood. Councilmember Dimple Ajmera says she's worried about straining the power grid.
We need to be proactive as a city rather than being reactive, because once they're approved, there is very little power that we will have.
Right. As of right now, there is no date set for the rezoning petition to go before council. That leaves time for policy changes to be finalized.
In Cornelius, authorities are investigating after a kayaker drowned on Lake Norman. Police say they received a call around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They later discovered the body of a 40-year-old man. Right now, details surrounding his death are limited. We have reached out to North Carolina Wildlife for more information. We'll let you know as soon as we hear something.
8:05 now. We are learning more about a missing Gastonia teen who was found safe hundreds of miles away in Florida during a traffic stop. This is some video of that actual traffic stop. Deputies say that teen was with 37-year-old Joshua McGrath, who initially gave conflicting information about their relationship. After investigators confirmed the teen's identity, they learned she'd been reported missing on February 16th. Experts say cases like this one are not uncommon. It's a reminder for families to talk with kids about healthy relationships.
Most of the time when an adult is trying to groom a child or to gain access to them, they try their best to make them feel comfortable in whatever way that looked like. So I would be very curious about what tactics he used to engage her.
McGrath is now facing several charges, including contributing to the delinquency of a minor. At this time, federal authorities are involved and local police say they continue to investigate. Now to Fort Mill, where Silfab Solar says repairs are underway after both a leak and a spill at its facility last week. In a new statement, the company says crews are working with state environmental officials and engineers to repair a tank linked to the hydrofluoric acid drip. The update comes shortly after a Silfab spokesperson says the company is still testing its systems and doesn't yet have a timeline for when production could resume. Meanwhile, the Fort Mill School Board is asking state leaders, including the governor, to step in and permanently limit operations at Silfab. Board members want the site restricted to assembly use only, citing their concerns about industrial chemicals near local schools. The plant says it ceased all operations following that recent leak and that York County officials confirmed there was no threat to the public, even as the district chose to keep schools closed.
Staying in South Carolina, the state getting a major boost for emergency response for its next big storm. The Duke Energy Foundation is investing $500,000 for severe weather preparedness. Starting next Thursday, state government agencies and qualified nonprofits can apply for grants of up to $20,000. The money will go towards training and equipment. Applications close April 25th. 8:07, turning back to your forecast, and boy, what a difference between this morning and tomorrow morning.
For temperatures are into the 70s right now, but by tomorrow they'll actually be into the mid-30s. So behind the strong cold front, we will have much cooler air. But truthfully, this is a big weather story. We're seeing widespread and heavy rain for parts of the Carolinas, strong to severe thunderstorms to the south of us. National Weather Service issuing multiple tornado warnings across Georgia. And now as we bring it home, here's what we're watching. Here in Charlotte, things are quiet. Look at this, though, just south of I-40, just south of Hickory, starting to tap into that red there. That's indicating heavy downpour rain. Widespread rain if you're really north of I-40. Now, could any of those strong storms to the south of us sneak up to our area? It's going to be possible. If those storms do form, they'll be very isolated, so definitely not everyone will see them. Storm Prediction Center still has parts of our viewing area under a low-end risk for severe storms, and now we do have the risk of some of those storms, if they were to turn severe, to perhaps develop into a spin-up tornado. So that's for our South Carolina counties until 1 o'clock today. This is not our biggest concern, but of course we need to let you know that that threat is there. Here's 8 o'clock, as we're now in that 8 o'clock hour. We're starting to see some of those heavier pockets of rain push through. By 10 o'clock, I think this is about when we're going to have the worst of it, right in Mecklenburg County. My eyes are really looking at areas shaded in reds and oranges. That's where the rain's going to be coming down really intensely, where you don't necessarily want to be out on those roads traveling. Heavy rain, limited visibility, ponding out on those area roadways as well. By about noon, the system is off to the east of us, and you'll notice a big drop in temperatures back behind the front. Starting out the day into the 70s, by the afternoon, temperatures will only be into the 40s. Overcast skies right now. This is what the skies look like out there in Concord. And then as we switch it on over, look at how ominous these clouds look. This is coming in from Dallas. Very dark conditions there as well. Those winds, they are whipping. We're seeing those southwest winds still for the Charlotte area and areas south of us. That's why we're so warm. However, those winds are going to change today. Back behind the front, they'll start to move in from the north and the west. Some of those winds up in the high country gusting up to 50 miles an hour. That's going to really allow for a funnel of cooler air to settle in across our area, which means cooler temperatures this afternoon. You can see how those temperatures drop, and really as far as our impactful rain goes, I think really between about 9 o'clock, 11 to noon is when you need to be ready for it. Overnight tonight and into tomorrow, you are going to feel that chill in the air. 35 degrees waking up here in Charlotte tomorrow, right at freezing in Monroe, 25 degrees there in Boone. And here's our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. At least our temperatures will rebound very nicely by Friday afternoon. It's going to be a pretty day. Mid-70s Saturday and Sunday, rain and storm potential again on Monday. And then next week, Tuesday and into Wednesday, the big story there will be those below average temperatures. All right, Destiny, how are the roads? Have you had many accidents so far for those people who are waking up and just joining us?
Right now, nothing caused by the rain, and we've just seen a lot of accidents in the Charlotte metro area. Right now, we're looking at I-40 near the Bethel Road exit. This is in Morganton, and this is our entirely wet interstate right now. So the rain is coming down again along I-40. It's now breaching east of Statesville. It's mainly north of I-40 and then along it as well. So just be prepared for that to head into the Charlotte area. Right now, we are following a serious pedestrian accident accident on the plaza, eastbound and westbound at Willen Drive. Right now, not seeing a big traffic impact from this, but obviously very serious because a pedestrian is involved. So just be aware of that. Still have this accident on Park Road northbound at Arbor Point Drive. Again, some medium impacts there going northbound near South Meck High School. And then this accident still lingering on Albemarle Road inbound approaching Central Avenue.
All right, Destiny, thanks. Before we head to break, check out this exclusive shopping deal for our viewers.
Hey everybody, here at ShopTVDeals.com, we love to bring you products that we've tested and that we love, and boy, what an amazing deal we have for you today. Let me introduce you to the Mirage Gala Series 3-piece luggage set. Normally, this would cost you about $450. Today, though, you're getting a deal for $149.99. That's 67% off. That's a huge deal. Let me tell you why it's a good deal. Check out the luggage itself. First, hard shell cover, extremely durable. On top of that, very, very lightweight. Then you have these great hooks on the side, like you're leaving the airport, you need a place for your umbrella or your bag or what have you. Great here. You have a TSA lock back here, strong handles, an adjustable handle here in the back with 3 different heights. But here's the real winning feature. Check out these wheels, 4 360-degree wheels. You practically will glide through the airport. It's so mobile, so easy to use. Then here on the inside, check it out. You have these cross straps right here on this side, keeping things neat and organized. And then the zipper component on this side doing the same thing. Keep everything nice, tight, and organized. Plus this big pocket giving you even more capacity. And again, can't beat the deal. 67% off, all of this for $149.99. Basically, 3 bags for the price of 1. Check out the QR code there or go to ShopTVDeals.com.
Consumer prices in February were mostly steady, with small increases in things like rent and other services. Some goods like used cars and auto insurance actually saw prices fall. The report came just before the U.S. and Israel carried out large-scale airstrikes in Iran, hitting key oil facilities. Those strikes disrupted the Strait of Hormuz, a major shipping route, causing gas prices to jump and adding new uncertainty for consumers and the economy.
Defense officials told senators that the first 6 days of the war in Iran have already cost more than $11.3 billion. Senator Chris Coons of Delaware says the true total could be higher since that figure does not include all expenses. The conflict, now in its 12th day, has killed more than 1,200 people in the Middle East. 7 U.S. service members have died, 140 wounded, while U.S. and Israeli strikes continue to target Iranian military assets. 4 sources tell NBC News outdated intelligence likely led to that deadly strike on an Iranian elementary school. Democrats on Capitol Hill are pressing for more answers.
Well, we're also tracking an intensifying battle over oil as President Trump looks to ease concerns over the soaring energy costs. NBC's Alice Barr has those details.
This morning, an intensifying war within the war over that critical oil route, the Strait of Hormuz. Iran launching new attacks on ships, keeping tanker traffic at a standstill in a bid to drive oil prices even higher. With gas prices here at home up 20% since the start of the war, the U.S. joining dozens of countries agreeing to release 400 million barrels of oil to try to drive prices down.
We're going to be doing it very quickly, and then we'll fill it up. We'll fill up our reserves.
Pentagon officials telling senators in a closed-door briefing the first 6 days of the war with Iran are estimated to have cost more than $11.3 billion. That according to 3 sources familiar with the briefing. President Trump sending mixed messages about the war's status.
Let me say, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won.
Minutes later.
We don't want to leave early, do we, huh? We got to finish the job.
And now new information from a U.S. military investigation into the missile strike on an Iranian elementary school at the start of the war that killed 170 people, mostly children, according to Iranian officials. NBC News has learned preliminary results find the U.S. was likely responsible due to outdated intelligence believed to have mislabeled the school as a military target, according to a U.S. official and 3 sources familiar with the initial findings. Senate Democrats demanding answers from the Defense Department.
It's important that the DOD figures out how did this happen and then put things in place to make sure it does not happen again.
President Trump has said he would live with the investigation's findings. You may have heard reports about an FBI bulletin sent to police departments in California, warning Iran could launch drones from ships off the coast. A federal law enforcement source tells NBC News that was sent only for awareness and that there is no credible evidence or intelligence about an imminent attack. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
8:18 right now. Live pictures right now from our weather impact radar. Coming up, Majestic has your latest track on the incoming rain.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. We are following a strong cold front that's packing a punch really all across the southeast. Here it is now. We've been following some severe weather well to the south of us. Tornado warnings being issued across Georgia. But really, let's focus in on our impacts that are happening right now in our viewing area. Here in Charlotte, it's still quiet. It's warm, it's windy, and most of us in Mecklenburg County, we're still dry. But look at this. I want to take you just to the west of our Mecklenburg County area. Right there, starting in Gaston County, we're starting to see some isolated pockets of heavy downpour rain. Right along I-40 there, we're starting to see some conditions that are worsening from Hickory up towards Morganton. And then even I-85, we're seeing really just that heavy rain that's taking us from Kings Mountain, Gastonia. This is tracking eastward. Right now, Lincolnton, Maiden, Claremont, you're getting really hit with that heavy rain. Now, I'm not seeing any lightning strikes with that isolated spot there, but we're definitely keeping a close eye on it. Otherwise, I-40 and north of that, we have widespread rain at this point, but the brighter the colors, kind of the worse the conditions. That's what you can always think about when you're looking at this satellite and radar. It's all going to become more widespread as we head into the next couple of hours, so if you have places to be, you might want to consider getting out sooner rather than later, because here in Charlotte, I suspect by 9 o'clock we'll start to get really impacted by that as well. Low end risk for our overall severe weather threat, but it is not zero. The National Weather Service did issue this tornado watch for our South Carolina counties. So if any of those storms do turn severe, the biggest risk will be strong winds. Really, that's going to be the number one thing. And could we have an isolated spin up tornado for those counties? It could be possible. So make sure you stay close to our weather team. We'll be tracking everything for you throughout the morning and into the early afternoon hours. 10 o'clock, this is what radar could look like, becoming much more widespread. It is out of here by noon. Back behind it, it does get cool. Live camera look this time is coming in from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Dark clouds there, even darker clouds as you're looking out towards Dallas. Some raindrops now out on the cameras. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll break down what to look forward to after we get through this wet system. All right, Destiny, let's get a check on those roads.
Yeah, right now we are definitely seeing that rain coming down. Looking at right now, the camera will load. There we go. I-40 at mile marker 106. That's the Bethel Road exit in Morganton. That's where that rain is coming down. And as you can see, the rain has already breached east of I-77 this morning. So it has moved past Statesville on I-40. Now going into the Charlotte area here, we do have a serious pedestrian accident. This happened near Briarwood Elementary School and Kipp Academy in Charlotte. This is at the plaza at Willand Drive. Two patients with potentially serious injuries here. Not seeing heavy traffic impacts along the plaza here, but just be aware that this is definitely going to be an active scene while emergency crews work the scene with those patients. Right now, we do have an accident still near South Mecklenburg High School on Park Road, and then inbound on Albemarle Road approaching Central Avenue.
All right, thanks so much for that, Destiny.
Today in women's history, Janet Reno swore in as U.S. Attorney General. This was back in 1993. She made history as the first woman to hold that position in the United States. Appointed by President Bill Clinton and went on to serve nearly 8 years in the role. During her tenure, she oversaw major federal law enforcement initiatives and high-profile cases. Her appointment marked a major milestone for women in leadership within the federal justice system. Live pictures right now over Uptown. Not the nicest of mornings out there. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Majestic Storm. We're tracking a very strong cold front pushing across the southeast today. And while we're still dry here in Charlotte, the rain is coming in fast. Heavy downpour rain from Claremont, Maid, and out towards Lincolnton. This extends down towards Kings Mountain. So between I-85 and I-40, you're getting soaked with this rain. Even a few lightning strikes as well. So now we have an isolated thunderstorm or two that's starting to develop. No severe weather threat with that. Rain showers are continuing for our mountain counties, and this will become more widespread, especially by about 10 o'clock this morning. Temperatures are also cooling as that front passes. We already saw our daytime high early this morning, and now by the afternoon, temperatures will only be into really those upper 40s. By tomorrow morning, look at this, 35 degrees out the door. But the good news is we have a gorgeous weekend to look forward to. Destiny.
This morning we have a serious pedestrian accident at the plaza at Willen Drive. It happened near an elementary school and KIPP Academy in Charlotte. Two patients with serious injuries. We're also following two accidents north of Uptown, Brookshire Freeway inner loop after I-77, and on North Graham Street at Dalton Avenue.
We're streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30 on this Thursday morning. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. First up this half hour, the ACC tournament heating up in Uptown with the four top teams set to hit the court today.
One of the top storylines so far, NC State men's basketball team. They picked up an impressive win yesterday over Pitt to keep their tournament run alive.
WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joins us now live from the Spectrum Center with a look at the latest from the tournament. Miles.
Hey, Ben and Lisa. Yeah, we're into the quarterfinals when it comes to the ACC tournament here. So really the competition only gets tougher from here. And so far, some teams have done a pretty good job extending and really keeping their March hopes alive, while other teams, unfortunately, saw those hopes come to a close. So let's talk about one of those teams that have been pretty impressive so far. We are talking about NC State, the Wolfpack. They are keeping their tournament run here going and going strong, we should say. They looked, again, pretty impressive over Pitt yesterday. Now, things did get off to a bit of a slow start, but they turned things on in the first half and ended up walking off the court with a 10-point victory. And again, doing this in front of a very strong, impressive crowd, including a legend, an alumni, DJ Burns. He was in the house yesterday as well. Now, this win comes at a perfect time for NC State, snapping a 4-game losing streak that they had during the end of the regular season, and again, keeping their tournament hopes here alive and well. Now, Coach Wade did talk to us after the game and tells us just how important it was for his squad to shake off that cold streak.
would probably be no next week if we lost today. So this was important, or we'd have been in real trouble for next week. So this was important, and we need to try to play better against Virginia. I mean, we've gotten our doors blown off twice by Virginia. So we need to try to play better and see if we can make a game of it tomorrow.
Yeah, NC State, they're going to have a pretty tough task on their hands taking on Virginia, with that game being set to tip off at noon today. But it wasn't all good news for the Carolina teams. You see, Wake Forest, they fell short to Clemson last night, and we do have two ACC powerhouses that'll be in the house inside the Spectrum Center today that the Carolinas, they're pretty familiar with. You see, Duke, they will take on Florida State, with that game set to tip off at 7 o'clock tonight, followed by North Carolina, and they're going to take on Clemson. So another battle of the Carolinas, with that game set to tip off at 9:30. So it'll be interesting to see how those two teams look, not just with the injuries, but again, with both of those teams being from Carolina. So expecting those strong crowds to be here, and hopefully both games could end up with wins as well. Ben and Lisa.
Yeah. No better place to be than uptown Charlotte on a day like this.
All of those fans from the Carolina teams. All right, Miles, thanks so much for that. Well, new this morning, a Charlotte teen behind bars now, accused of killing a 15-year-old in South Carolina. 18-year-old Ryan Ingersoll is facing multiple charges, including murder and armed robbery, in connection to the shooting death of Leo Epting. Investigators say this happened early Saturday morning in Gray Court, South Carolina. Gray Court is southeast of Greenville. A second juvenile suspect has been detained in North Carolina and is awaiting extradition to South Carolina. Later today, we could learn the outcome of a tight state Senate race involving one of the most politically powerful men in all of North Carolina, and the recount is looking more likely. More than a week after the primary, there is still no decision on that race between the longtime Senate President Phil Berger and his challenger Sam Page. Now, Page currently leads with just 23 votes.
According to election officials, military ballots are due by 5 p.m. today. Some could still arrive in the next few hours between now and then, but it's unlikely there's going to be enough to actually change the outcome of the race. So the next thing, all eyes turn to March 17th. That's the deadline for Senator Berger to request a recount since the vote is so tight.
And there are new clues hinting that he is leaning that way. IRS paperwork showing a Phil Berger legal expense fund was started on March 5th, 2 days after the primary. We reached out to Senator Berger's campaign. We are waiting to hear back. Now, last Friday, he released a statement. It reads in part, "If we believe a recount is merited, I will pursue that avenue as allowed by law. I owe it to supporters to ensure clarity of the election results."
This, of course, leads to the big question, would a recount change the results?
And now that is possible, but political science professor Tom Little, he's with UNC Greensboro, and he says recounts rarely shift enough votes to flip a race, leaving Berger to face a big political decision.
He has to decide, do I want to go through all this when the chances of winning are not very good? And that, for a sitting presiding officer who's as powerful as that, may not be a really good look. It may look a little desperate. Of all the things he's done as Senate President Pro Tem, would the last memory be of somebody grasping at straws?
If Berger requests a recount, it's supposed to be done by March 25th so the state can certify the results and the winner can go on to face the Democrat in November. Thousands of North Carolina students and teachers are getting a financial lifeline after the state fought to get millions in federal education dollars restored. Attorney General Jeff Jackson announced the Department of Education agreed to restore more than $2 million in federal education funds. In a statement, he called it a good outcome for students, but says the fight's not over yet. He says schools will continue to get the money they were promised. He sued the Department of Education back in December, claiming the agency cut $50 million that had already been promised to the state of North Carolina. Here in Charlotte, CMS says it needs more money to boost teacher pay. The Board of Education released a partial budget for the upcoming school year. They want an extra $37 million for teacher raises. It's part of an effort to keep teachers here in Charlotte classrooms. The board expected to release its full budget by the end of the month. That's when we'll see how the district plans to cover some of those costs.
Governor Josh Stein and 18 other governors are urging Congress to take back control over tariffs. The governor says rising prices are hurting families, making everyday household items more expensive. He says he is pushing Congress to act fast to lower costs and to protect North Carolina's economy. In South Carolina, York School District 1 has launched its search for the founding principal of its new White Hill Middle School. District leaders say that position will help shape the vision and culture of the new campus. The principal will start July 1st of this year. The school is set to open July of next year. School officials will break ground on that site next Wednesday morning.
Right now, an Ashe County man is behind bars charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. Police arrested 21-year-old Austin Durden after investigation into illegal internet activity. We're told investigators discovered Durden in possession of sexually explicit material on several devices. He's now being held without bond.
All right, let's check back in with Majestic now because the rain is moving in with that cold front that you've been telling us about all morning.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Want to give you an update. The National Weather Service just issued a severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for Chester County. We're watching a cell right there that's really starting to pick up some intensity. Right now, it's moving northeast at 60 miles an hour. So this is a really, really fast moving storm. The biggest threat with this right now is very strong winds. Radar's picking up on 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Again, as that storm is intensifying, we'll have to see if any rotation does come out of this. This is in our South Carolina counties. Remember, we've been talking about how those counties are now under a tornado watch. So there you go. You have heavy downpour rain as the winds are whipping 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So I would say if you're out towards Chester County, this is what's coming our way. It's just outside of our county line there, but it's heading towards Union right here. And then as it continues to move more north and east, we're talking about down trees, down power lines as that cell continues to track more eastward. This is all from that strong cold front that we've been talking about all morning long. Areas to the south of us have been getting pounded with strong to severe thunderstorms from Alabama out towards Georgia. And now we'll be watching that cell right there to see if it does have any rotation with it. Again, the number one concern with that will be those strong damaging winds as it continues to move fast. Again, northeast at 60 miles an hour. So Chester County, this one's going to be coming your direction next. Not only do we have strong winds, you can see some lightning strikes there. We're talking about heavy downpour rain as that cell is intensifying, and we'll be watching to see again if it does have any rotation. Another place that I'm watching is right between I-40 and I-85. This one doesn't seem to be quite as intense, but if you're out there in Maiden and Lincolnton, I mean, if we're talking intense when it comes to heavy downpours and still some strong winds, it's out there, but not quite as strong as what we're seeing with that other cell that I was just mentioning. If you're out on those roads and you're traveling on I-40 right now, I mean, it is not looking good, especially out there towards Statesville. The darker the red, the heavier the rain, especially when we see this purple here. That's where it does become quite concerning. Another thing is that we've been in a drought. Our drought is so terrible at this point that everything is really hard. The ground is hard, so while we do really need this rain, it's not going to just nicely absorb into it. This is oftentimes when we do see a little bit of flooding. Up in their mountain counties, right along Ashwaubenon, Avery counties, you've been seeing that nice trickle of rain all morning long, but now things are starting to intensify. Temperatures are still warm outside, especially here in Charlotte, south of us. Models are indicating that by 9:30, 10 o'clock, we could be in the thick of things. Again, that system's off to the east of us. By noon, 1 o'clock, we shouldn't have any bigger concerns. Another thing, though, it is windy. Even if you don't have a thunderstorm, I mean, it is really windy. Right now, most of our winds coming in from the southwest. That's ushering in warmer air. That's why our temperatures are so warm outside. But once that front from the northwest continues to trickle in, we'll start to see that change in the direction of our winds. And that's when those temperatures start to drop. Remember, storms, they love the warmth. They love the humidity. We're working with that right now for South Carolina counties. So the ingredients are in place for a couple of those storms to become strong to severe, just like I've been mentioning. And right now we do have that one severe thunderstorm warning in Chester County. Not quite in Chester County is a storm, but it's tracking northeast 60 miles an hour. It's moving really fast. Right now, the biggest concern is going to be those strong winds associated with it. Let me show you that one last time because that's going to be the biggest thing that you need to know about. Again, National Weather Service just issuing the severe thunderstorm thunderstorm warning. Here it is. It's going to be pulling in some really strong winds with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Things are blowing all over the place. We're talking about even the possibility of downed trees and power lines. As that rain comes down, those winds intensify. We'll keep you updated to see if this cell does actually have any twist to it. Let's go ahead and get a check on roads with Destiny. How's it going?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that rain move in. This is a shot of I-77 at mile marker 49, which is the exit into downtown Statesville. Very ominous skies out there, even seeing some dots of rain on the cameras. So that rain is coming in fast. So just be prepared for that. Also seeing a lot of ponding going on just west of us in Lincolnton, just south of Hickory, Shelby. So be prepared for that. Also a little bit of a traffic backup on I-40 near Hickory this morning. So again, take it easy out there. You definitely don't want to be caught up in an accident because you're not driving for the conditions in this rain. Serious pedestrian accident on the plaza has cleared, but there were 2 people taken to the hospital with potentially serious injuries. So that has cleared, no impacts to your commute. An accident on Brookshire Freeway Interloop after I-77. And then we also have an accident on Steel Creek Road at I-485.
A man in South Carolina wrongfully arrested due to his medicine being mistaken for a dangerous drug. We're going to hear from his attorney as he files a lawsuit.
The time is now 8:44. A man is in police custody after allegedly driving his van into a security barrier outside the White House. According to the Secret Service, that man crashed into the temporary security barrier Wednesday morning. He was immediately arrested by the Secret Service and criminal charges are pending. A police bomb squad was called to that scene, checked the vehicle, and determined it to be safe.
Family, friends, and fellow officers gathered in Durham to say goodbye to North Carolina State Trooper Stephen Perry. The 30-year-old was killed in line of duty last week after investigators say a wrong-way suspected drunk driver hit him on the freeway. Here's Carly Haynes.
His casket wrapped in the state flag, just as Master Trooper Stephen Perry wrapped himself around North Carolina.
He meant so much to that community as a trooper, but he meant so much to that community as a person.
The 30-year-old was killed March 1st in the line of duty, hit by a wrong-way driver on the Durham Freeway, who investigators believe was drunk.
There were several cars behind him. His final act was consistent with how he lived, standing in harm's way so others could make it home safely.
Perry served as a Durham County trooper for nearly 7 years. He played college football at North Carolina Central University, a person who cared deeply about the place who shaped him.
The badge brought us together, but the brotherhood made him my best friend.
A husband, son, and father of a 9-month-old daughter, now taken to his final resting place, the end of his watch.
Carly Haynes reporting for us there. A Florida man has filed a federal lawsuit in Greenwood County, South Carolina, after he was arrested because his prescription medication was wrongly identified as fentanyl. You can see this body cam video. It shows the May 2024 traffic stop of Brian Gittress. Greenwood County deputies searched his car, found prescription medication for IBS. According to a lawsuit, deputies used that field test that later produced a false positive for fentanyl. He was arrested and spent 15 days in jail before later tests confirmed the pills were legitimate medication. His attorney said even after the test results came back, the state still tried to get him to make a plea deal.
So I think it's really important to know that Brian was presumed guilty until he was proven innocent. And even when his innocence was proven, he had to stay consistent and not to plead the guilty to something he was never guilty of.
Charges against him were eventually dropped about a month after the sled test came back.
The governor of Alabama has granted clemency to a man who has spent more than 3 decades on death row. Alabama's Governor Kate Ivey commuted the death sentence of 75-year-old Charles Burton, who was scheduled to be executed this week for his role in a 1991 robbery that ended in a deadly shooting. Ivey said she could not, quote, proceed in good conscience, noting Burton was not the gunman.
Not only was he not the shooter, but he did not even see the shooting take place. Remarkably unique case. There have been only a handful of these around the country.
The man who pulled the trigger originally received the same sentence, but it was later reduced to life in prison. Burton's sentence will now be life without the possibility of parole. All right, 8:48 now, taking a live look at I-77. This is near Tyvola. When we come back, Destiny Richards will have a look at your traffic impact.
Hi, this is Roy Sprinkle. Thursday time for On This Day in History. This is March 12th, and we go back in time. The year was 1912. Girl Scouting began in Savannah, Georgia. At that time, there were 18 girls. It was organized by Juliet Gordon Lowe, the founder of the Girl Scouts of America. By the way, Since that time, the Girl Scout total is 3,700,000. It's been a big week. It's been Girl Scout Week across the United States. And by the way, today is National Girl Scout Day. That's on This Day in History. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Well, good morning, everyone. We are tracking some active weather out there. I want to get you straight to it. First things first, National Weather Service does have parts of our viewing area under a tornado watch. It's going to be for our South Carolina counties. This is all coming from a strong cold front that we've been watching for you all morning long. Right now, we do have a warned storm that was just issued by the National Weather Service until 9:30 this morning. Here it is right here. All of those areas shaded in red, that is heavy downpour rain. Now, this is technically our county right here, so we're not really tapping into it quite yet. But here's what we know. This storm right here, it's tracking fast, northeast at 60 miles an hour. The biggest concern right there is not necessarily rotation, but it's strong straight line winds. Some of those winds gusting up to 60 miles an hour. So again, not only is it producing strong winds, but it's moving very fast. So here's some of those times. Moving into Chester around 9:15 this morning, out towards TK about 9:22. Rock Hill, good morning. This storm is coming your way as well right before 9:30. At this point, we're watching for heavy downpour rain and strong winds. Those are our two biggest concerns, but with those South Carolina counties, we will be watching to see if any of those cells can actually produce some rotation. Temperatures are warm enough right now. We have some storm fuel to work with. Another thing that we're watching is right between I-40 and I-85. We do have a couple of strong cells that are bringing that heavy downpour rain, but it's also bringing incredibly strong winds, especially on the northern half of Lake Norman right there through Statesville. If you have someplace to be, this is not the weather that you want to be traveling in. And while it's not widespread quite yet, our models are still indicating that this is all going to shift off to the east. Here's about 10 o'clock. Still, it's going to be bringing the problematic area from Chester out towards Rock Hill. Some of those cells, again, bringing really heavy rain, strong gusty winds, and temperatures are continuing to fall. We like that because storms, in order for them to have the energy that they need to be destructive, they need warmth, they need humidity. But at this point, we have that right now, so that's why we're watching that storm specifically out there in our South Carolina counties. Once that system passes off to the east of us, things will quiet down this afternoon. Those winds are still very strong, gusting up to around 25 to 30 miles an hour right now, moving in from the south still, so that's why it's warm. But once that front pushes through from the northwest, that opens up the door for cooler air, and that's why temperatures will continue to fall throughout the rest of the day today. There's a look at what you need to plan for here in Charlotte, and then there's our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. 35 degrees tomorrow. What a difference a day can make. 64 though by the afternoon. Beautiful weather as we're heading towards a weekend, and then Monday another rain and storm potential before freezing temperatures again. All right, Destiny, how are the roads? Are you seeing rain? Are you seeing accidents? Give us an update.
Yeah, right now, no accidents on I-40, but you can see just that little bit of red there near Hickory. So the ponding and the heavy rain that we're seeing just west of the Charlotte area, that is just causing a little bit of trouble on the road. So just make sure that you drive for all of that. Take it easy, slow down. You don't want to get into a wreck this morning. We are following some new accidents, one on I-77 southbound, causing some traffic here along right near Uptown. This is at West Boulevard, the exit 9A there. Stop and go traffic backed up to Moorhead Street. So be aware of that. That's a fairly new accident. And then on Brookshire Freeway Interloop after I-77, have a crash right there. And then also still following this one in the Steel Creek area, Steel Creek Road at I-485.
All right, Destiny, thanks. 8:55 now. Time for us to take a quick break, but make sure that you keep streaming live right here on WCNC Plus. At the top of the hour, Jaden Marmoyal is going to take over from our live Impact studio. She'll be talking to Paul Hollis, the director of the United States Mint. They'll be discussing special coins for America's 250th anniversary that's coming up this year. Stay with us.
A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued by the National Weather Service. Our eyes are really watching our South Carolina counties because we could see some of those storms actually form into a quick spin-up tornado. We're watching strong damaging winds right here, heavy downpour rain. This storm is moving fast, northeast at 60 miles an hour. Radar has indicated 60-mile-per-hour winds within that thunderstorm as well. Here's a look at some of the time out there in Rock Hill. 9:28 is when you'll start to see some of that storm head your direction. We're talking about wind and heavy rain, even out there towards TKK. Once we're looking out towards Statesville and areas up towards Mooresville, more rain, gusty winds. That'll be the name of the game. We'll be covering everything for you over on WCNC Plus for the next couple of hours, giving you weather updates, letting you know if we actually do see any of that rotation. National Weather Service has issued a tornado watch for our South Carolina counties until 1 o'clock today. Destiny.
Yeah, along that same vein, you want to definitely take it easy out there if you are west of the Charlotte area, because all this blue is ponding from that heavy rain. And along I-40, we're seeing a bit of a backup near Hickory on I-40 there. We do have a new accident here on I-77 at West Boulevard.